Gallerhorn started attacking Tekkadan to try and block them from entering Edmonton.
Oh great, now where am I going to get a decent donaire? Welcome to Dive In. Let's look at a few instances where Edmonton took a beating. The City of Edmonton, a fast-growing city of approximately 1.4 million people, situated in the middle of the Canadian prairies in the province of Alberta, fifth largest city in the country, and one of the youngest. It goes by a lot of names: Gateway to the North, City of Champions, Oil Capital of Canada, Amiskwich Waskahagan, and a few unflattering ones. We have plenty of festivals, a really big mall that doubles as an attraction, an entire fort with a functional period town inside, and a divisive international sports franchise. It's your average North American prairie city with its detractors and attractors. Oh, and big robot fights.
Self.
Yeah, that last one surprised us as well. Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans is a 2015 anime TV series that is set in a post-disaster universe where giant robots duke it out for your entertainment. Put some international politicking, human rights violations, anti-war sentiment, and massive swords in a blender, and press puree. While I can appreciate the story, it's not my cup of tea. I don't even drink tea. Lots of wild stuff happens, but what I want to focus on is their decision to pick my city as the scene for a pivotal battle in the series. Edmonton is the political capital of a fictional country called Arbrow, which spans over most of Russia, Canada, and Canada's Took, which is Alaska. After something called the Calamity War, Arbrow was given concessions over Martian territory, which contained a city called Kreese. An heiress to the Kreese security group concern flies from Mars to Earth to chat with the Prime Minister of Arbrow to convince him that Kreese should be fully independent. While that's going on, a peacekeeping organization called Gallerhorn stages a fight at the Kreese security group's base in Edmonton to increase tensions between Mars and Earth. Edmonton's downtown gets stomped on by big old robots, and that's about that for its inclusion in the series. As to why the series chose Edmonton as the meeting place for paramilitary warfare, there are a few rumors. The Guardian says our bland building design, but in reality, who the heck knows why Edmonton was picked? Let's move over to the Fallout universe. In 2059, an ongoing war between the USA and the PRC brings Canada into the fray, as Alaskan oil is needed for the American war machine. A pipeline carrying Alaskan oil to the continental USA through Canada is supposedly threatened by China, leading to a political crisis. America wants to protect its pipeline and station troops in sovereign Canadian territory. Canada doesn't want anything to do with America and its war. Fun times. 2066 rolls around, and tensions have increased. Canada won't let troops across the border or allow military planes to use its airspace, but that's quickly dashed and American troops are allowed to pass through Canada to Alaska. Come 2069, and Canada is now little more than a colony. The USA has begun to use us as their pantry, raiding resources from ores, timber, oil, and uranium, all for use in their war effort. Canada is given the nickname Little America. By 2072, Canadians had had enough. As the USA calls on the Canadian government to provide more material resources, Canadian cities across the country burst into rebellion. This includes a Weibo Ludwig-style attempt to sabotage the Alaskan oil pipeline. This was just the event the United States needed to finalize their annexation of Canada. A guerrilla war ensues, but the American military quickly conquered each province and territory. By 2077, the whole country has been pacified, and Canada became another American possession. During the rebellion of 2072, one in particular is of interest to us: Edmonton. In Fallout Tactics, you're able to meet a group of reenactors spoofing the invasion of Canada. One of them mentions recreating the pacification of Edmonton. I really hope the city would make it through a global nuclear war, but more on that later. MDK2 is a 2000s Dreamcast game. It's a run-and-gun shooter with a few puzzle elements. Pretty fun. Let me show you a cutscene that blew my mind as a kid.
All over. I just knew it.
Mine crawler in sector 8675309.
530. Good gravy! That's Edmonton!
That was my city, in a game produced by my favorite developer, BioWare, getting totally wrecked. It was awesome. I was stunned. I couldn't believe a game I was playing name-dropped my city. It's currently for sale on Steam, and I recommend checking it out. Stellaris. A nice grand strategy game in the veins of Masters of Orion. When you pick Earth, you get a bit of flavor text to tell you what you've missed. One of the events that changed the planet is the Great Albertan Crater. What's with the year 2072 and killing Alberta? As I mentioned before, dying in a nuclear hellfire was a very real threat for the city during the 1950s to the 1970s. The Soviet Union had nukes aimed at every strategic city in North America. And not only is Edmonton a major railway hub, but it's also a major waypoint for travel to Alaska. Our centrally located airport had been used as a military aerodrome ever since World War I, and on top of that, Alberta had struck it rich with oil. Leduc No. 1 had blown its cap in 1947, and a wave of development and extraction would flood the province, still to this day. This is where the Edmonton Civil Defense Bunker comes into play. In 1952, Edmonton City Council recognized that in a possible strike on the city, they might want to be protected. They commissioned a bunker to shield them from the fallout. You had a radio communications area, private sleeping quarters, and supplies for 2 whole weeks. That should be enough time for fallout to subside, right? Right? The bunker was never finished, and it lies in a state of disrepair to this day. Studs are up, foundation is poured, electrical wire is run, but that's about it. It's now the city's most exclusive museum, with tours being very rare. And that was the history of people wanting or wishing to destroy my hometown. If you like the style of video, let me know, and comment down below to let me know what you'd like to see next.